Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for joining us today. Before we get started with the webinar, we wanted to remind you that registration is required to complete your attendance quiz at the end of today's session and to be eligible for a digital badge. You only need to register for the series one time. So if you've already registered for Series 24, no further action is needed. For those of you who have not registered, you can do so by using the link provided in the chat box and then following the steps inside the slide. We'll begin today's webinar in just a few minutes. In the meantime, let us know in the chat where you are joining us from today. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first session in American English Live Series 24. We are so excited that each of you are here with us today. My name is Chris, and I'll be with you today along with my colleague behind the scenes, Elena, who will be the moderator, helping answer your questions and responding to your comments during the session. We wanted to let you know that today's session will be recorded and shared across various platforms. By attending and adding your comments to the chat section during today's webinar, your first name, country, and/or comment, it may be included in the video recording. By participating, you consent to your appearance in the recording and its use for the purposes related to work or business of FHI 360 and the U.S. Department of State. If you do not want to appear in the recording, please do not share any comments in the chat box during the live webinar. Throughout Series 24, we will explore a variety of topics in teaching English through American media, games, and creative activities in celebration of the United States' 250th birthday this year. We hope that you're able to use the practical ideas we share. Here's what to expect today. The session is about 60 minutes long. The presenter will present the material, and I, as your host, will ask questions and comments too. But we really hope to hear from you, our audience, so that we can address your ideas and experiences. So remember to please share your thoughts using the chat box. And now for today's webinar, Gonna Wanna Gimme More, Teaching Listening and Pronunciation Through American Music. Music is one of the most powerful and engaging tools for teaching listening and pronunciation. This session highlights how popular American songs can help learners notice and practice key features of natural speech, including contractions, reductions, and rhythm. Together, we will examine short, classroom-ready song excerpts that feature authentic American English speech and discover simple listening and pronunciation activities suitable for a wide range of contexts. By the end of the webinar, Participants will have a toolkit of practical strategies and adaptable ideas for using music to build learners' listening comprehension and pronunciation skills across levels. And now we are pleased to introduce our presenter, Tiffany Lao. Tiffany is an ESL professor at Irvine Valley College and Golden West College, with extensive experience teaching academic writing, pronunciation, and conversation courses. She recently served as a virtual English language educator with the U.S. Department of State, designing and delivering medical English courses for nursing students in Pakistan. Tiffany specializes in innovative approaches to engaging multilingual learners. She has previously taught at various colleges and universities in the United States and internationally through the Japan Exchange Teaching Program. She has also worked as a skill architect for Duolingo to develop CEFR aligned content for English learners. She's authored multiple ESL textbooks and presented at regional and international conferences. Welcome, Tiffany.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in today's AE live session. So my name is Tiffany Lao, and I'm really excited to be here with you. So today's session is titled Gonna, Wanna, Gimme More, Teaching Listening and Pronunciation Through American Music. So we'll be looking at how American songs can help learners notice and practice real, natural English, especially reduced forms, rhythm, and stress. So I'll be asking you to participate using the chat throughout. There are no right or wrong answers. This is just a space to share ideas and reflect together. So here's what we will do today. First, we will identify common reduced forms found in authentic spoken English and music. Then we'll learn how connected speech affects listening comprehension. And finally, we'll learn how to design scaffolded listening tasks using American English. So I like to hear from you. I like to learn about you a little bit. How do you currently use music to support language learning in your English classes? So you can share some strategies, ideas, or even say, oh, I don't really use music much yet. So please type your response in the chat.
Yes, everybody, please let us know, how do you currently use music to support your language learning in your English classes? As Tiffany mentioned, you can share strategies, ideas, or even say that you don't use music much yet or at all. Please let us know in the chat. I'll give you all a moment to share your responses. Let's see, Tiffany, we got lots of wonderful audience members joining us today.
Mhm.
Let's see, we've got a couple of teachers saying that they don't music a lot. They don't use music a lot. Another teacher is saying that they use songs to pre-teach grammar. Some teachers are saying as a warm-up, some to reinforce some of the grammar topics they covered or to cover new vocabulary. Lots of teachers are saying hello. We've got teachers from all over the world. I've seen Tunisia and Azerbaijan and Peru. And we have another teacher saying that they use it to boost their students' natural English listening. That's wonderful. And then, yes, just to practice all kinds of learning new English words for verbs. So then we have an association, Italio America, saying music touches all the bases: pronunciation, comprehension. If you play an instrument like the ukulele, you can even learn a whole lot more. Let's see, you can even build skills. So it's so much fun. Hello, shout out to the American Association in Trieste. So wonderful comments from our audience today. Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure to keep those coming throughout today. Back over to you, Tiffany.
Thank you all for your wonderful responses. And I do agree that music can be used to teach every single skill, speaking, reading, listening, writing. So it's a really fun way to engage students. So why should we use music in our classes? So first of all, I think songs really help students notice how real English sounds. So, for example, they really notice rhythm, stress, and reductions that textbooks don't really expose them to. And music also repeats patterns, which means students get to listen more to the same phrases. And songs naturally show a lot of connected speech. So things like wanna, gonna, didya, woulda, which are really important for understanding fast or casual English. And working with English can really boost listening confidence because students begin to realize some familiar sounds and patterns across different songs. And from a teaching perspective, I think using music is pretty much low prep, high engagement, and easy to adapt to different levels. So here's today's agenda. We'll start with reduced forms in music, and then we'll move on to listening task design. Next, we'll focus on rhythm and stress, and finally, we'll end with a mini lesson demonstration.
That's great, Tiffany. We got a couple comments coming in. Just some people are
Mhm.
just saying they're so excited to be here. They can't wait to hear these activities, and hopefully there'll be some music coming, which I think there might be. And another teacher comments that just music helps to break the ice in the classroom. So just wanted to share those before you continue. Back over to you.
Fantastic. Yes, it's a great icebreaker. Okay, so let's look at connected speech first. What is connected speech? So many learners say, yeah, I can understand my teacher, but I can't understand songs or movies. And often connected speech is the reason. So these three features are parts of connected speech, but they all work a little differently. So reductions are when whole phrases get shortened in fast speech, like going to becomes gonna. And linking is when words connect at the sound level. So often consonant to vowel. For example, like see it or pick it up. And contractions are reduced grammatical forms that combine two written words, like I am becomes I'm. So when students learn to notice these kind of patterns, their listening comprehension really improves because most native speech includes all three. So now I'd like to pause and hear from you. What kind of challenges do your students face when they listen to fast connected speech in English? So please type your responses in the chat.
Back over to you, audience. It's your turn again. So, what challenges do your students face when listening to fast, connected speech in English? Share some of your thoughts in the chat and would love to share them out. Let's see, Tiffany. We've got Dr. Azan here saying that it's hard for them to understand and to comprehend when they're listening to fast, connected speech in English. Absolutely. Um, let's see what else we got coming in. It says, so some challenges is that they can understand the reading better than the listening sometimes.
Mhm.
Yes, I can understand
Yes.
that. Let's see. Students sometimes feel confused that they try to connect other words to similar words that they've heard previously. Maybe sometimes they get lost. Pia Ramos is saying that they are sometimes shy or maybe even embarrassed, that they sound too different maybe from their regular accent. Um, Another teacher says in our audience that it's difficult for them to differentiate the words,
Mhm.
even just new vocabulary or contractions. Um, Also, another teacher in our audience says that they find it difficult to understand each word and which one is not so important and which word is important. And then we have Freddie Salazar 67 saying not getting the full message because of the connected speech. Yeah, that's definitely a
Mhm.
challenge.
Mhm.
So yeah, teachers are sharing lots of different comments about some challenges, whether they're getting confused or lost, or student gets frustrated sometimes. So lots of challenges our teachers are facing. But luckily we have you, Tiffany, to help us out. So back over to you.
Okay, thank you for sharing. These are all really common challenges, and hopefully, slowly, students will try to, overcome this with our help. Okay, so we will address some of these challenges in this session. So throughout this session, we will use uh, a free webinar. So all these songs are available for free through Wordplay. So Wordplay is a really exciting program between American English, US Department of State, American Music Abroad, and American Voices to bring music and lyrics into the English language classrooms across the world. We'll look forward to listening to 4 songs in this session. Okay, now let's look at our first song. It's by Sub Radio and it's titled What You Want to Hear. So the genre is indie pop or pop. The level is intermediate to advanced, and the focus of this activity is to recognize reduced forms and contractions. So let's hear a little bit of the song.
All night, caught up in the details, text, calls, and emails from my broken friends. Long time since I thought I could fix them, and everything is mixed up and it never ends. Ooh, call up everyone I know and tell them I love them and their problems. Hey, are we all...
A really fun song. And for this song, let's look at a sample activity we can do. And this is called a pronunciation word hunt. So in this activity, students will not listen to the song, yet first they're going to read the lyrics silently. So they're going to look for words or phrases that might sound different when sung. So the focus is to identify connected speech. So they'll use different symbols to mark the lyrics. For example, they'll circle reduced forms like want to becomes wanna. Okay, reduced forms. They'll underline linked words or words that connect together. And they will star phrases that sound like one long word. Like, did you go? Might sound like one long word, did you go? So these steps for prediction really help students listen more actively. So here, at this point, students will read quietly and use the symbols to mark the lyrics. So I remind students that they're just guessing, it's not a test. And here are 2 different examples of student responses. So some students, they marked, tell me what you and we're not scared as one long word. Maybe they also marked, inner as a connected speech, and maybe they marked the 2 and 9 to 5 as a reduction. So I mean, students might have different answers, and that's totally fine. So after they mark the answers, you can have them share their answers with the partner. And then at the end, after they share, we'll listen to the song together and check the answers. So let's check the answers.
Why don't you tell me what you want? 9 to 5 in a nightmare. We're not scared.
Okay, so we can see here, don't you, okay, tell me, and what you, and 5 inna, we're not. All these are connected words, linked, okay? And then we have this phrase that sounds like one long word, what you want, and we're not scared. And then we have a reduction for to, maybe it comes t. So for post-listening activity, we can move into speaking. So at this point, I might put students into pairs and have them talk about these questions for 3 to 4 minutes. So I might ask them, oh, which words or phrases were hardest to hear clearly? Did any words sound different than what you expected? Which phrase sounded like one long word? And then to practice pronunciation, I might have students practice this sentence. I'll tell you what you want to hear, but in a more natural way. So I'll demonstrate how I might do this with the student. So Chris, the host, will play the role of a student, and I will play the role of a teacher. So I will model it slowly first and tell students to repeat after me. Okay, so please repeat after me slowly. I'll tell you what you want to hear.
I'll tell you what you want to hear.
And then we do it more naturally with connected speech. I'll tell you what you wanna hear.
I'll tell you what you wanna hear.
Very nice. And finally, we'll do it quicker with rhythm. I'll tell you what you wanna hear.
I'll tell you what you wanna hear.
So these steps really help connect listening to production. Okay, so now let's move on to part 2, how to build listening tasks. So first, let's look at scaffolding. What is scaffolding? So basically, scaffolding refers to temporary support provided by teacher, task, or materials that help learners access challenging input and complete tasks they could not successfully do alone. So it's important in listening because it activates background knowledge of the students. It helps learners know what to listen for. It improves their confidence. It makes authentic listening materials a lot more manageable. So some basic scaffolding techniques might include prediction tasks. Okay, so maybe students predict who, where, what. Maybe you show some visuals. So for example, maybe you show some images, some album covers for students. Maybe you'll give them some guiding questions regarding the song. Or maybe you give them some keywords or vocabulary for them to focus on before they listen to the song. So here is a role map I like to use when I scaffold listening tasks. So I usually have a pre-listening task. So for example, I'll have a prediction task, which activates background knowledge, it sets the purpose, and it reduces anxiety. And then we have the wow listening task. So usually I have students listen several times. So maybe the first listen, we ask them, so what's the main idea? What's the gist of the song? What's happening? The second listen, maybe we'll ask them more of the details. So maybe the vocabulary, the content, the structure. And maybe the third listen, we'll do a comprehension check. We might have like a short, validation, meaning check. We might use true and false questions, matching, and so on. And after that, I like to finish with a post-listening activity, which is usually a speaking practice. So for this activity, we can have students retell the song, maybe summarize, give their opinions, maybe talk about personal connection to the song. So maybe what would you do if you were the singer? So I like to hear from you again. So which scaffolding techniques do you currently use? And which ones do you think you might need to add to strengthen your next listening lesson? So please share your ideas in the chat.
Audience, it's your turn again. Yes, as Tiffany just said, please share which of the scaffolding techniques do you already use? Which one do you think you need to add or to strengthen to your next listening session? So please let us know in the chat. Let's see, Tiffany, we've already got some wonderful comments coming in. We have Dr. Azran saying to activating schema, especially relating to their personal experience. Yes, I love that. Connecting it to themselves, to their personal experience. Let's see what else we have. Just lots of people still saying hello, of course. Everyone's happy to be here as well. I think they're still thinking about what things that they can do to activate schema. Um, let's see, some of them are liking your ideas already. So one teacher is saying that they don't necessarily do too much pre-listening, so they're looking forward to building that up. So
Mhm.
that's great. We have Erica Castillo saying to write examples for students to see on the board. Another teacher is saying that they use pictures and then they ask students to guess what the listening will be about and to think about the words that they might hear. Um, we've got the Italia Association of America saying that they listen and then fill in the blank with the next word. We have Karina Sanchez. She says she likes to use mind maps and word splashes and different types of puzzles related to the topic or song. These are all great. And then another teacher, Marino Chavez, says we relate to situations that students have with different songs. Um, Lots of wonderful ideas, lots of similar concepts, pre-teaching vocabulary, gap fills, fill in the blanks. So yes, Tiffany, lots and lots of great scaffolding techniques. Our teachers, as you can tell, we are wonderful teachers out there. Thank you so
Mhm.
much, everybody. Keep them coming throughout the webinar. And back over to you, Tiffany.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And these are all fantastic ideas. And I think that it's really important to just not directly jump into the song first, but have some pre-listening tasks to really activate students' background knowledge and build their confidence. Okay. So the next song we will hear is called Better by Tamara Jade. So the genre is pop and soul, and the level of the activity is for intermediate to advanced students. And the focus is more on informal contractions and colloquial phrasing. So before we go into the steps of scaffolding, let's listen to the song together.
New year, new me, new trees, new leaves. Finally got the hang of this thing called life. Taking it all in stride. Take your time, girl. On my own 2 feet, traveling, living this dream. Seeing places I ain't never seen before. Ready for so much more. Here you come.
That's such a beautiful song. So for the pre-listening task, I might have students do a prediction. So for example, I will have students look at the lines below, just 2 lines, and I will not have them listen to the song yet. So these 2 lines are, we gone, be all right. Keep your head up, it's gonna get better. And then I might ask students some questions. So now Chris, our host, will play the role of a student. So I might ask the students, so what do you think we gone means?
Ooh, I think we gone means we're finished, maybe, or we're leaving, perhaps.
Mm.
I think so,
Y-
maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe we're finished or maybe we're leaving. Good ideas. And do you think the song will be fast or slow?
I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be fast.
Okay, yeah, maybe it'll be fast. Nice. So then I will have students do their first listen to the chorus. So I will play the chorus and have students circle the words that they hear.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Keep your head up. It's gonna get better.
Okay, so students, what words did you hear?
I heard gone and gonna are the other words that I heard.
Okay, gone and gonna. Good answers. Very nice. And then we might have them listen again. So this time we're going to have them check the words they hear. And repetition is really good for their listening and pronunciation. So let's listen again.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Keep your head up. It's gonna get better.
Okay, so students, what words did you hear this time?
Yes, teacher, I heard gonna, we gone, and be all right.
Did anyone else hear that? Yeah, yeah. Looks fantastic. Yep, thank you so much. So after that, I want to do a quick meaning check, just so students can kind of predict the meaning of the song. So I might ask, oh, what does "we gonna be all right" mean in this song? Does it mean things will improve, things are finished, or nothing will change? Okay, I got one answer from Dr. Azan, who says things will improve. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm also seeing people, Tiffany, in the comments on YouTube saying we're gonna be all right or everything's gonna be okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Good.
I agree with
Thank you.
them. They're so smart.
Okay, so for post listening, I might have students do a pronunciation practice. So have students repeat after you. So first we say slowly, like we gonna be all right. And then a little bit more naturally, we gonna be all right. And then with some rhythm, we gonna be all right. So this really helps students, um, you know, help students enhance their pronunciation. After they listen to the song, they practice the lyrics. Okay, now we'll move on to part 3, which is rhythm and stress instruction. So we know that pronunciation is not just about individual sounds, but it's also about rhythm and stress, which is the music of English. So songs naturally highlight strong and weak words. So this helps the learners really feel the rhythm of the language. So first, let's go over what rhythm and stress is. So it's first of all, they're important because English is a stress time language. So this means that stressed syllables create the rhythmic beat. And this affects how real English sounds, especially in music and fast speech. So a lot of times learners struggle not because they don't know the vocabulary, but because they can't catch some of the stress peaks and they skip the reduced syllables. So some key definitions here. So the first one is word stress. So basically this means one syllable is louder, longer, or clearer in a word. So for example, relax, today. And then we have sentence stress. So we stress some key words. So for example, I want to go. And then we have rhythm. So rhythm is basically the pattern of stress beats and reduced syllables. So for example, you got a friend in me. So this shows strong, weak, strong, weak, strong. Okay. So here you see we see the capitalized words as the stronger syllables and the dots as the weaker fillers. So why do we teach rhythm and stress? This really helps with listening. It helps students recognize reductions, and it helps them practice linking. Okay, now I'd like to hear from you again. So, what do your learners typically notice first when they listen to something? Do they notice the meaning, rhythm, or stress? And how can we shift their attention to multiple elements? So please type your answers in the chat.
Yes, it's your turn again, audience. So, Tiffany, and we would like to know, what do your learners typically notice first? Is it meaning, rhythm, or stress? And then how can we shift their attention? What do you think? So let's see here, Tiffany. We've got a couple people here saying it's meaning, another person saying rhythm. I'm looking over, we have Freddie Salazar on YouTube saying rhythm, Beatrice saying rhythm and stress. Over on YouTube, I'm seeing rhythm, meaning, rhythm, meeting. So kind of lots of different things. And then another person is saying rhythm, and then finally stressed, followed by rhythm. So um, I'm wondering, no one's really answered about how we can shift their attention though, but maybe you can share with us some ideas, Tiffany.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's really important to have students focus on different things, not just one element. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so for the next song, we are going to look at this song called I'm Never, Never, Never Gonna Give Up by Tony Memo and his band. So the genre is indie and the level is intermediate to advanced. The focus is more on informal contractions and colloquial phrasing. So let's listen to a little bit of the song together.
Get out what you put in, come lose or win. Sing this anthem of the soul. I am never, never, never gonna give up. Never, never, never gonna give up. Never, 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 never gonna give up.
It's such an energetic song. I love this song. So for the pre-listening activity, again, I might show one part of the lyrics to the students, so they will not listen to the song yet. So I will ask them to circle the words they think might be strong, and then they might underline the words they think might be fast or weak. So now we'll have them listen to the line once. So we tell them, you don't need to speak, just listen right now.
I am never, never, never gonna give up. Never, never, never gonna give up. Never, 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 never gonna give up.
So now I might ask the students some questions. So for example, Chris, what do you think? Do you think that this song sounds smooth and musical?
Thanks, Tiffany. Yes. Yeah, it does. To me, it does sound smooth and musical.
Yeah. And do you think some words sound faster than others?
Yes, absolutely. I do think that some of the words do sound faster than others.
Fantastic, really nice. Okay, so next I'll have them do the second listening task, which is shadowing. So this time we're going to have students listen again and try to speak the same time as the singer. So you want to tell them, even if you miss a word, just keep going. Okay, so let's try this.
I am never, never, never gonna give up. Never, never, never gonna give up. Never, 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 never gonna give up.
Okay, so students might have a fun time doing this, and after this, we might ask students for a brief survey. For example, how did you feel? Was it easy, a little hard, or very hard? Now, I might have students listen one more time. So we might have them whisper the rhythm this time. So, so we want them to focus on the rhythm and the beat. We don't want them to worry about the meaning. Okay, so we can tell them to tap or clap on the strong words if it helps. Okay, so for example, we're gonna have them model it like, we're never gonna give up. Okay, so by doing this, they, even though they're not saying the sentence out loud, they can feel that some words should be stronger and longer than the other words. And this is really fun. It creates like a low pressure environment. Maybe students don't want to sing, but whispering, they're more like confident to do so. So yeah, it's a fun activity for students. So for the post listening speaking activity, we might have students do a free practice speaking. So we might have them complete and say the sentences below using natural rhythm. For example, this year I'm never gonna blank. When things are difficult, I'm never gonna blank. And maybe some students might say answers like, this year, I'm never gonna eat too much junk food. Or maybe they'll say, when things get difficult, I'm never gonna quit. Now I'd like to hear from you again. So how do you bring rhythm into your lessons in a way that keeps learners engaged? So maybe share one quick activity or approach that works for you. So please share your ideas in the chat.
Yes, audience, it's your turn once again. So Tiffany and I, we would like to know, how do you bring rhythm into your lessons in a way to keep your learners engaged? So if you could, please share one activity or approach that works well for you. We'd love to hear and see that in the chat, and we'll share some out. And Tiffany, while we're waiting for some of them to comment about that, we got a couple questions from the
Mhm.
audience about how, like, choosing songs. Like, what length of a song do you recommend using for activities with students?
That is a fantastic question. So it really depends on what your pronunciation focus is, which I will talk about this in the next part. But you don't want to overwhelm students by having them focus on too many things at once. So maybe you just want to focus on contractions. So you can take just 30 seconds to 1 minute of the song that you want and just focus on contractions. So you don't have to always have students focus on the entire song. Even short, quick activities that focus on one specific, strategy for pronunciation will be fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll
Mhm.
look forward to that next section. So yes, we got
Yeah.
some great comments from our audience about how they bring rhythm into their lessons to keep their
Mhm.
students engaged. I'm seeing lots of teachers in our audience saying that they're, kind of using some kind of rhythm or beats, whether they're clapping their hands or tapping their desk or stomping their feet. We've got another teacher here saying that they share their rhythmic compositions, for example, using haiku poetry.
Mhm.
Um, Another teacher saying yes, they do use poetry in their class, short poems or tongue twisters that have a lot of rhythm. So yeah, it's tongue twisters seem to be popular too.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, lots of other teachers are talking about using chants, particularly at the children's level or lower
Mhm.
level. Um, another teachers saying, getting the students to use maybe some of their school supplies, using their pencil or something to tap on their
Mhm.
desk. Another teacher is saying echoing key phrases while
Mhm.
focusing on stress. Um, we've got another teacher saying marking the rhythm of the songs on the board and modeling that for the students, and using your strategy of like circling above the
Mhm.
lyrics so that the students can really see how words come together so they can visualize that rhythm. Ooh, I like this one too. Humming, another teacher saying that. And then here's a nice little technique or rhythm drill too. They used a clap and speak rhythm drills. So students clap a steady beat while saying sentences or vocabulary, and then we change speeds or stress. This helps with pronunciation, focus, and keeps energy high. Yes, that's from a great comment right there. Wonderful. So many wonderful comments. Yes, back over to you, Tiffany.
Yeah, thank you all for the comments. These are such fun ways to engage students. So thank you all for sharing. Okay, now let's move on to part 4. So this is our mini lesson demonstration. So I'm just modeling a mini lesson that you could teach in about 15 to 20 minutes. So the next song we're going to use is called Run To by Jessica Lynn. The genre is country, pop, and kind of rock. So the level for this activity is for intermediate students. And the focus is on reduced forms, maybe some contractions, and maybe even some emotional intonation. So before we dive into the mini lesson, let's listen to a little bit of the song together.
I can't just quiet my mind. It talks all the time now, figuring us out. Where do we go? All of the questions at hand, they feel like we could stand high.
Such a beautiful song. I love this song too. Yeah, so let's go over some steps you can take to make this mini lesson. So the lesson begins with a personal warm-up, and then students will preview some selected lyrics, and then they'll listen and notice some reduced forms and contractions. And next, the whole class will practice pronunciation together. And finally, students might reflect and speak using the target language. So there's not a lot of like textbook explanations, but it's more of a lot of guided practice for students. So before we begin the lesson, we always want to choose a pronunciation target. So like I said earlier, you don't want to focus on too many things at once because it might overwhelm the students. So maybe you say, I just want to focus on reductions. So things like wanna, trying. Or you say, I just want students to focus on contractions like I've, I'm, or I'd. Or I just want students to focus on intonation, like emotional rise or fall in personal statements. So step 1, we might have a short warm-up question for the students. We might have them think and share. For example, when you feel confused, sad, or emotional, who or what do you want to run to? So this connects to the song's title, which is, run to. So some options they can choose. They might run to a person, a place, music, or even just, they want to be alone. And then step 2, we will preview some of the lyrics. So we'll show students a few lines. For example, I want to run to, I'm trying my best, and I've lied to myself for so long. So I might ask the students the following questions. So for example, Chris, what do you notice about these words?
I'm seeing kind of their, the I wanna, I'm trying my
Mhm,
best. They're all kind of coming together a little bit more
mhm.
casual, I would say, is what my first thing that I notice about these words.
Yeah, definitely. I think you actually touch on the next question too, which is more casual. Maybe they're coming together. They sound like they're connected. Great. And
Yeah,
what do you think wanna means, Chris?
yeah, I would say that it means like I want to. So yeah, I think they're definitely a little bit more informal, but they also have like a personal kind of listening to the song you shared, it has kind of like a personal reflection. Like even though it's informal, I got a sense, I noticed that they maybe had some really deep meaning. So that was one thing else that I noticed too. So I want to means maybe I want to. So it might look informal, but also could have a serious meaning for deep self-reflection.
Wow, excellent response. Yeah, I think definitely it sounds like it might have a really personal connection, a deep meaning, even though it's informal. Thank you for sharing. So then step three, we'll have students listen for the first time. Maybe we might have them listen and check what phrases did they hear in this song. So we'll only play a little bit of the song now.
Anything that makes me feel you. I'm trying my best to what will I do? I've lied to myself for so long.
Okay, so students might have checked some of these answers. So let's see what students might have checked. They might have checked wanna, I'm trying, I've lied. Good. Yeah. So next we want to focus on pronunciation. So we might have students repeat after us. So first we're gonna have them repeat the full form. For example, I want to, and have them repeat, I want to. And then the natural form, I wanna, and then have students repeat, I wanna. Same thing with the next two, I am trying, and have students repeat, I am trying. And then the natural form, I'm trying. Students repeat, I'm trying. And then I have lied. They change it to I've lied. So first you want to say it slowly and then more naturally. And finally, maybe with some kind of emotion. It's always fun for students when they can say it with emotion. Okay, now let's move on to step 5, which is post-listening reflection. So this is where students can reflect on the lyrics more and connect it to themselves. So we might have them try to answer one of the two questions. So for example, they might answer, when I feel overwhelmed, I want to run to something, or I've told myself something for a long time. So, and then students can share their ideas with a partner. Okay, so some takeaways. So it's important to just choose one clear pronunciation target. And then we want to use short, scaffolded listening. And we want to explain less, but have students notice more. Okay, too much explanation just overwhelms students. Have them do the noticing themselves. And then we want to have them engage with the song more emotionally, personally. And then we want to end with a speaking activity. Okay, so these small choices can really make a difference. Okay, now let's hear from you again. When you think about your own classes, which of these mini lesson components do you already use? And maybe which one would you like to use a little more intentionally? So please share your ideas in the chat.
Yes, audience, final time for your turn to participate. Tiffany would like you to think about your own classes in which of these mini lessons that she shared, which components do you already use, and then which ones would you like to try and to integrate more intentionally. So I'll share a few comments, Tiffany. We have Natalia saying the self-reflection. We have Dr. Azan saying he will bring more emotion in the activities. Um, we've got Farouk saying they'll incorporate the clapping and the tapping and the twisting. We have another teacher saying that they will do more post reflection, which is very nice. So lots of great comments coming through. We have Raquel this is a wonderful comment. Raquel saying, music is the language of the soul. Whatever that is taught through, it is always a success. And using music to teach English is so fun and meaningful. Wonderful, wonderful. And yeah, just the last component, warm up and reflection. So nice kind of bookends using these mini lessons. Great comments, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all so much. So, throughout this session, we learned how music supports real-world listening and pronunciation. We learned how small, focused tasks can train the ear. And we learned how rhythm-first speaking activity builds fluency. So before we finish, I'd like you to reflect a little about your own classroom. So what is one small change you can make tomorrow to support pronunciation through music? So please, again, share your ideas in the chat.
Wonderful. Yeah, everybody, please share those reflections in the chat. Let's see what we have. A couple people sharing out, Tiffany. Yeah, people are just really excited to integrate these into their classroom all around. Everyone's excited to take little bits of the activities that you shared with and the practical ideas. Seeing lots of people would like to integrate more reflection into their classroom to support pronunciation through music. And just in general, just to bring more music into everyday practice into their classroom. I think our audience and teachers are just really excited. Couple of teachers really identified shadowing. They like that concept of using shadowing, and then maybe adapting this for students at multi-level classrooms. So yeah, it looks like our teachers got a great deal of great ideas from you today. So thank you so much, audience, for your great comments. That was wonderful. And back over to you, Tiffany, to finish this off.
Yeah, great. Thank you all for sharing. And definitely, music is very motivating for students. And reflection is a great way to have students just not only listen, but also connected to themselves and their own feelings. Great. And so thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much for the work you do as teachers. I'm sure your students, will love any kind of music that you bring into the class. So I hope you leave with some ideas that you can use right away. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Tiffany. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing those awesome ideas. They're very practical strategies, adaptable ideas, really, for using music to help build our learners' listening comprehension and pronunciation skills across levels. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Tiffany. And of course, we'd also like to thank you, our audience. As always, you had wonderful engagement and participation today. Please continue to keep those comments coming. Please share your ideas through social media or with your viewing groups after the session ends today. And so now it's time for you to have an opportunity to receive a digital badge from our team here at American English for Educators. For registered participants, you can complete the quiz in Canvas now. Remember that you must answer 2 out of 3 multiple choice questions correctly. Your eligibility to receive a digital badge is based on your first quiz submission score. So please take your time and make sure that you read each question very carefully before submitting your quiz. If you successfully pass the quiz on your first attempt, you will get a badge immediately in Canvas. If you have not registered for Series 24, please use the link that's being shared now to register. Remember to register for the series only one time. Again, only register for the series one time. Once you complete the registration process, you will gain access to the Canvas course and you'll be able to complete your attendance quiz. And finally, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you had a wonderful experience in our first webinar of 2026 in Series 24. We look forward to seeing you at our next webinar on February 18th. And remember, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the American English YouTube channel and turn on notifications to receive alerts when we go live. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. See you next time.